This is Peter J. Polack, MD, with Medical Practice Trends, and in our podcast today, our guest is Mike Meikle of Hawkthorne Group Consulting Firm. So welcome, Mike.
Afternoon, sir.
Today, we're going to be talking about recent changes in the enforcement of the HITECH Act. So this is something that physicians want to really pay attention to. Although right now it doesn't seem to be an issue, we need to be aware that there's certainly some significant potential penalties. Is that right?
That's correct. $50,000 per
Wow.
record breach.
Can you talk to us a little bit about this recent case that occurred and what are the implications for the typical medical practice?
Well, certainly. Very recently, well, up until this year, the HIPAA, Health Information Portability and Accountability Act, which has been around since 1996, really didn't have a lot of teeth in the overall law. Most medical practices and even large healthcare providers they recognized it was there about protected health information, but they really didn't put it in their standard business processes and practices to be concerned about it. But with the advent of the HITECH Act in 2009, the enforcement of HIPAA has become more prevalent, and in February of this year, Health and Human Services assessed a $4.3 million penalty against Signet Health in Prince George's County, Maryland. And then 2 days later, HHS levied another $1 million settlement against Massachusetts General Hospital in the same type of HIPAA privacy complaint.
What exactly did they do? Was it one of these accidental breach of information where someone took a laptop and lost it, or what exactly happened in the case of the Signet?
Well, with Signet, the issue basically revolved around the fact that the organization was denying 41 patients access to their medical records when they had requested them, and this was between September 2008 and October 2009. So what the patients did, and the HITECH Act and HIPAA encourages this, they filed individual complaints about this to Health and Human Services. Then, of course, HHS decided to investigate. Well, what really added fuel to the fire was that Signet refused to cooperate with HHS when HHS requested records from Signet. Instead of sending the 41 records to the organization, they backed up a truck full of thousands of medical records and had HHS sort through them for the 41 they needed. And then they basically stonewalled and obfuscated and kind of skated around the issue. And then finally, HHS got so fed up that they went ahead and penalized them for the $4.3 million. So that was a huge wake-up call to the healthcare provider, the large healthcare provider industry. It's unheard of for this level of penalty to be levied.
And this was a civil penalty, right? This is not just
yes.
a fine or a fee.
Yeah, it was a civil monetary penalty.
And in the case of Massachusetts General?
Well, this was another interesting issue. And like you had just mentioned, so how did data get lost? Was it stolen? Was a laptop taken? Did somebody leave a backup tape in a car? Well, what really happened here was an employee of Mass General left documents on the subway. And in the documents, there was protected health information of 192 patients. Some had been diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. And they also had, medical record numbers, health insurers and policy numbers, date of birth, of course, name. And they were never recovered. So HHS stepped in and levied the $1 million fine on Mass General. And then, of course, they had to do a corrective action plan, and they had to basically do a whole comprehensive set of policy and procedure adjustment to protect PHI because this is not in the actual business practices of the organization. So not only did they get this $1 million fine, but they had to retool their business processes and technology processes to protect PHI, which they hadn't been addressing. So there was an additional cost. It's just not reported.
So what's the take-home message here for the typical medical practice? What were some of the things that you would recommend that they would do? For example, you just mentioned having policies and procedures. That's certainly something that the government would look at to make sure that at least you have guidelines in place to prevent this sort of thing.
That's correct. Most of the guidelines and recommendations in HIPAA and HITECH are not technology specific. It's not a technological solution. Technology assists in complying, but really it's about business processes and procedures. If you look at how information gets stolen from any organization, and this is even outside of healthcare, it's theft. Theft of laptops, theft of USB drives, theft of actual paper records, like in the case of Mass General being kind of carelessly left in the subway. So what organizations have to do, healthcare organizations, is to train their employees about PHI, Protected Health Information, or EPHI, the Electronic Protected Health Information, how to properly work with the information, how to protect it, understand, also impart on the employees the risks and the ramifications of losing PHI to the organization, how it can really undermine the viable business model of an organization if they have too large of a breach. And that, once again, it's a business process. And training your employees goes a long way. And then, of course, with the technology piece, if you have electronic information, the encryption of your storage media, and also an effective asset management program. So if your laptop walks away, you actually know your laptop's gone. Or how many laptops you have in your practice. Do you know? Well, you should know. And making sure that those hard drives on the laptop are encrypted. And also have the ability potentially to do remote wipe of a device, and ability to track where that device is if it happens to fall out of a physician or nurse's hands. You can actually know where it's gone. If someone logs into the internet, you know where it is. You can remote wipe it. So once again, there's a lot of ways technology can facilitate compliance, but the basic training your employees is very important.
Okay, well, very good. Thanks very much.
No problem, sir.